in Mauritius. Xavier-Luc Duval is the Vice Prime Minister of Mauritius and also the Minister of Finance and Economic Development in that country, on top of which he was named 2012 Finance Minister of the Year for Africa. This is the 12th bureau that CNBC Africa is launching today in Mauritius, and it's wonderful to have the Vice Prime Minister as our special guest to go through some of the fascinating decisions that he's been taking and the work that has been done in Mauritius to open up this country to the rest of the world, indeed to make it the Hong Kong of Africa. Vice Prime Minister, thank you for being with us. When did you've been in the post now for 3 years as the Finance Minister. When did it occur to you, or when did you start working on your Africa strategy, which is now pretty well known around the world?
Good afternoon, Africa. I'm delighted to be here in the first crossing for Mauritius. I've been Minister of Finance now for the last 2 years, and it's been obvious to us that Africa is enjoying a huge transformation, that the potential is huge for Africa, and that Mauritius now is ideally placed on the east coast of Africa to act as a meeting point between Asia and Africa, but also to use our huge experience in financial services. We have a huge diversified economy. We are a great trading nation. We find all these attributes now. We can use this to help to be a catalyst for the development of Africa. And of course, in the process, this is a two-way process. We hope to learn a lot also in this venture.
You're a chartered accountant. That's most unusual for a politician to have that kind of background. Clearly you have a political family. What convinced you to get into politics?
I don't know if it's unusual. We are two accountants in the cabinet at the moment. I am from a political family. My father himself was leader of our party and a major political figure at independence and after. So in fact it is in the family, and that helps because you develop the right approach, you develop the right reflexes, and God knows that you need this in politics.
And you need it when you're attracting businesses to your country as well. You've done a lot of work in various areas, and we will get onto that in a moment. But are you seeing any concrete results from being top of the free economy index, for instance, for Africa, and various others, ease of doing business in Africa, in the world rather, you're number one in Africa. Are you seeing companies actually picking up on this and coming in?
Yes, absolutely. Last year, we had a near record year in terms of attracting FDI from overseas. Now this year, we're expecting another record year. So in fact, the reforms that we've done for a few years now, and we're continuing with these reforms, and in fact, we've jumped 5 places in the World Bank Ease of Doing Business report. So we're continuing on the reforms. Mauritius has just 2 main attributes. One is the beauty of the island, and secondly, its human resources. So we use these 2 things to our advantage, and of course, we need to adopt the right economic policies and the right governance so that we keep on attracting investors to our shores. A lot of it is confidence in the country, confidence in the people, confidence in the future policies that government will take, and that we think is working well, and it's working well in Mauritius, and happily it's working well in many other places in Africa as well.
Mr. Duval, you have been quoted as saying that you want to turn Mauritius into the Hong Kong of Africa, a conduit for investments into the continent. How far along that process are you?
We are doing quite well. I must say that over the last 20 years or so, we've been a conduit for foreign investment into India, and we've accounted for about 43% of all the billions of dollars that have gone into India. Nowadays, with the development of Africa next to us, we see that 60% of the new companies being formed in our global business services sector are in fact targeting Africa for investment and trade. So it is happening. We are developing this approach worldwide, and in effect, in order to enhance that, we are continually negotiating and signing new double taxation agreements with the countries on the African continent, and we are also signing and negotiating bilateral investment treaties. In fact, we expect the double taxation agreement with Gabon to be signed this weekend when the Foreign Minister of Gabon visits Mauritius.
You've also just put together the re-engineering of that double taxation agreement with South Africa. There is some view in this country that it might cause businesses to withdraw from Mauritius. Your view?
There is an issue, and it has been raised here and internationally as well, in that the new provisions of the double taxation agreement do not allow for sufficient certainty when there may be argument as to where some companies are actually resident for tax purposes. And this is an issue that we've raised with the embassy here and that we're wishing to raise again with the appropriate authorities, be it tax authorities in South Africa or the Ministry of Finance.
So it's still work in progress as far as you're concerned?
It's virtually finalized, but we're not happy with that uncertainty. We've learned in the past that uncertainty does discourage people and discourage investment, and we are very keen that either there should be an MOU which sets out clearly how the modus operandi of, I think it's clause 4 of the double taxation agreement, or that in fact we should look at this whole thing again.
Mm-hmm. There is competition for the role of conduit into Africa, or as you put it, the Hong Kong of the continent, from Botswana, Rwanda, even South Africa. Do you see them do you see the competition as being good, or do you see them as rivals?
Well, the competition is always good because it makes us better. I saw that Seychelles is also portraying itself as a gateway to Africa. It's a good thing because there's a lot to go around. There's a lot of investment to go around, and each country will have its own specificities. But we believe that Mauritius is particularly well placed because of our tax structure, for instance, because of the stability, because of the large number of professionals that we have. We are also an arbitration center. There are so many things going for us. But we also know that we have a few drawbacks. We are working on connectivity, be it maritime connectivity with the rest of the ports in Africa, and also air connectivity. We know we have some drawbacks. We're going to work on that. And we are competitive minded, and we like competition.
It's been incredible the way that you have approached the difficulties or the potential difficulties that Mauritius has experienced, not least the problems that they're seeing in Europe and your exposure to that part of the world. Have you got any other strategies that you can share with us today on how you are taking your country to a more premium position in the global environment?
Our country is highly dependent upon Europe. More than 60% of our foreign exchange comes from that region, and we've been hit by the economic difficulties, and this year the recession in Europe. And we've responded by diversifying away from Europe in terms of our tourism. Now we have 3 direct flights a week to mainland China. We are diversifying in terms of our exports. Our exports to Africa have grown by more than 50% over the last 3 years, and that's fantastic. And so we are diversifying our markets, but also diversifying our industries. And we are branching out now into new industries such as the education, for education services, particularly tertiary education, medical services. We have a new film framework, and we hope to encourage filmmakers from all over the world and also from Africa to come to Mauritius, and we subsidize 30% of the local expenditure. So we are going to new ways of new industries, but something that we're doing which is quite new is we are about to liberalize fully the bunkering services here. We want Mauritius which is already on the main maritime route now out of Asia. We want Mauritius to be able to tap fully this market and to offer bunkering and other ship supplies. And we hope that by doing this, we'll attract more shipping lines to Mauritius, and that there'll be then, from that, more feeder services into other ports.
Sounds like you're taking a leaf out of the book of Singapore in more than one respect.
Yes, Singapore, Malaysia, a lot of countries are doing the same thing. Well, that's a good thing because at least we can benchmark. We also have a new airport which is just about to be opened, and that will act as we hope as a regional hub. And we do hope that we can help in dealing with the problem of connectivity between cities in Africa.